Hill is a renowned historian based in Charleston who wants people to know what Gullah is. In this edition of Quentin's Close-Ups, I sit down with Godfrey one-on-one. And be sure to download the free Quentin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Well, Godfrey.
Yes.
It is so good to see you, man.
Good to see you, my man.
I appreciate it. Well, you drive by me every day at Qology Barbecue.
Right.
And you tell people what about me?
Man, when I see you every day, I say, look at one of the most powerful men in our city. So before we get to that point, when we get to where you are, we're halfway done. So we're talking all about the number one city and how powerful the city are and the people that are here and the influential people and their history. And then I come up on the market and you're there with that big smile and you're waving, you're always waving and everybody's looking and they're waving. And I say, now look and see the most powerful man in our city, Quentin Washington. He has his own show called Quentin Close-Ups. Everybody's going on their YouTube, looking up Quentin Close-Ups. And then they see that you're really there. And I said, now listen, if you want to be anybody, if you want to do anything, you got to find Quentin and hope he invites you to come on his show. So we then go into a little more about you. And sometimes you walk up and say hi and wave. They're always taking, yeah. So it's all about you. And I say, and then after dealing with Quentin, then they go on to do some of the things that they hope to do. But I said, but it's his back that we stand on to get the things that we want to get. So he's significant, man.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. That's powerful. That's huge.
Yes, sir. That is.
I think all that is.
You are powerful. You are huge. You need to know it. Absolutely. We need to say it. We like to say the bad things. We don't say the good things, bro. You are good at what you do.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And you talk about a long time. We talk about you. The Gullah Geechee Tours of Charleston. And this talks about you. Lead tour guide is a vetted historian and a licensed certified tour guide with the city of Charleston. A Charleston native Gullah Geechee historian, anthropologist, and a curator. He's the only Gullah Geechee historian to teach him the Gullah Geechee teachings of Christ, the Messiah, and the secret heritage of the lost mysterious people. So who are those lost mysterious people?
Ooh, the Gullah people. The greatest secret this country is still keeping a secret. The Gullah people, the lost, mysterious people. If you ask those people, who are you? We know we're powerful people. We can say, well, you know what? We used to be kings and queens, but who are you? What's your name? What nation are you from? Oh, we don't like that question. It's an uncomfortable question. It's so sensitive. So, who are those people? On my tour, I tell everybody who the Gullah people is. The true meaning, the true understanding of the word. It's a perspective that we have not heard before. It's mind-blowing because it's all historically and biblically accurate, proven information. Mind-blowing. We are some of the greatest people ever known in history. Now, we have been written out of history. So it's hard to find that truth. Who are those people? There's only one truth. Gullah. Such a powerful, mysterious culture. And I talk all about it all day. It's my entire life from my beginnings. Ashbyville, west of the Ashley, on the water. Charleston started in 1670. Charleston Landing. Just across the water is my neighborhood. So I grew up staring at that big old giant boat, big old ship in the water. We grew up staring at that ship. And I grew up on the slave market. My family is still there today, making, the sweetgrass culture. This is our entire life. So when you grow up with this perspective, when you grow up in this city with such a powerful history, it gives you a different perspective on life. So we talk about that perspective that you don't too often hear.
The sweetgrass basket culture. What is the state of that in your mind?
Sweet grass culture. You can't find it everywhere. The most powerful spiritual energy that there is. The sweetgrass and bulrush is written about in the Holy Bible.
That's right.
And Moses, the greatest prophet, when he was born, he was placed in a sweetgrass bulrush basket. So a powerful man that has his beginnings with this culture, with this basket. You can't find this culture anywhere. People that make these baskets are spiritual, are powerful, are significant people. Some of the greatest people. So this goes back to one of the most powerful history find that remnants, breadcrumbs from that history in our city, on the market, on Highway 17, on Broad Street. This is the city where those people still are. Yes. Charleston is number one for tourism for a reason.
And let me ask you this. What is the future of the sweetgrass basket culture in your mind?
So, the Black Moon just came, and that is all about our culture. The sweetgrass culture is about to explode. I mean, the attention that our culture is getting now, we haven't, seen it like we're seeing it now. And the sweetgrass is the foundation to our culture. So we have a few people now that are focusing on ways to make sure to bring this culture back to the forefront. So we have never seen the true understandings of this culture like we're about to. So amazing things are coming for the sweetgrass culture. Amazing things. Charleston, just stay tuned. Stay tuned. But some really big things are coming. So a lot of things are happening. And it's all about that. All about that.
And you talk about the prophet and obviously Bill Rush. Let me go to you. It says this: Godfrey Jefferson Cahill was born in South River, New Jersey, the Garden State Garden, Eden, where doctors guaranteed he would not survive within hours of his birth. 3 months later, still only barely breathing, his mother placed him in a sweet grass basket and sent him down south to the river of Charleston, the holy city.
So, our culture is all about Charleston, Gullah. But see, Gullah is about the blood. We are the direct bloodlines to the slaves. Gullah, the direct bloodlines, all about the blood. So the red rooftops, the blood of Jesus, the blue on the doors and on the shutters, and on the ceilings to keep the spirits away, the hags and the witches and the demons. But it's all about the blood. When you bleed red. When you're not bleeding, your blood is blue.
Right.
When I was born in South River, New Jersey, but I couldn't breathe. I had a sickness, meconium, a black, nasty, tar-like mucus coming out of my nostrils. The doctor spoke death. Their first words were, he's going to die. He's already dead. He may have a few days, but he's not likely to make it. So my mother called my grandmother here in Charleston and said, the doctor said he's not going to make it. But my grandparents had just lost their son. My Uncle Ed was murdered. So my grandparents said, well, I just lost one, and this child came, and we were hoping for him, and now you're saying he's going to die. But my father doesn't work like that. God doesn't work like that. So my grandmother, this was always our culture, made a basket of bulrush only, and it was laid with palmetto leaves. And when she went to Jersey, they had their intention of bringing me back. They brought me in this basket, and they took me to Beaufort, South Carolina, a man named Dr. Buzzard, a root doctor, a voodoo legend, a real doctor, a healer using natural herbs. And today we call it alkaline water, but this was very hot, straight from the dirt. Alkaline water. So this root doctor saved my life. So my first deep breath was right here in the holy city. So it goes back from the very beginning. They were always friends with the family. Voodoo and root, that is our life, it's our culture. I grew up in it. If it wasn't for that, I would not be here today. So these things we just don't often hear about. And when you hear about it, there's a very dark light on it. Sure. But it should not be. Just the truth. These things that we kind of shun away from. If you shun away from it, how are you going to understand? You got to talk about it. On my tour, we talk about Black, African American slave history like nobody else does.
And a lot of people think that a lot of Black people are African Americans, but you say that's not so.
Well, we're African Americans today, and that's a very sensitive question. What's your nationality? What is your nationality? When you ask us that question, we feel some kind of way. So you say I'm Black, or you say I'm African American. Well, if you're African American, Jesse Jackson in 1988, he made the term up. Jesse Jackson. Working with Ronald Reagan and the papers in Charlotte, North Carolina, their newspaper, 1989 is when they printed it. Jesse Jackson said, we're now changing the name to African American, and they used comedians to debate on what that name should be. And Bill Cosby was one of those comedians. And if you read on the CVB, the Charleston Visitor Center's website, on the website, if you look it up, they tell you that Charleston is the beginning of the African American. And if this is the beginning, then there's a question. Before you got on those ships, what was your name? Because it wasn't African American then. And our God is not a God of change. So whatever your name was in the beginning, that's still your name today. We just don't know it. So African American is the newest of the many nicknames we were given.
What more questions do you have?
Ooh. How long? God, how long the black moon just came? I just want to know our truth. I just want to know our truth. He said he's coming to redeem us. Redemption. How long do we have to suffer at the bottom with nothing? The number one city in the world for history. Well, in the city, when you talk about the people that built the city, where are they at in the city right now? They're not here. Where are they? How long we gotta suffer? God, you said you was coming back. How long we gotta suffer? So my questions are, how long? Because I'm ready. Denmark Vesey spoke about this.
Okay.
They hung him on a tree. Morris Brown spoke about it. They ran him out the town. Thomas Jeremiah tried. They hung him on a tree. Gullah JacK. His real name was Jacob J.A.C. They call him Gullah JacK for short. But Jacob A.B. Gullah JacK. His name is Jacob, Jack and Jill. It's another ancient Gullah fairy tale. Jack, his real name is Jacob. But that fairy tale that comes, that's our culture. So my questions are the questions that my people always ask when they get on the bus. And I just want answers. We need to know the truth for a change, finally. Willie Lynch was the one that said, never let them know their history, their language. Willie Lynch said that.
What is the truth about Morris Brown and Denmark Vesey?
Ooh, look at you. Look at you. The truth about Morris Brown. You know, the people that tell the story of Denmark Vesey and Morris Brown were the people that hated them. So they give a very interesting perspective on our redeemers. These were our redeemers. Making way for the one true and great redeemer, that which is Christ.
Right.
So the truth is, these men knew exactly what God was all about, and they taught that, so they were destroyed. They were hung on trees, and their heritage was removed, was erased, and told by people that hated him. Their true story has never been told. We're telling that story right now on Geechee Tours. When you get on our bus, you get the truth about who they are. Morris Brown was so significant, so they couldn't let you know his truth. So the people that don't want you to know his truth, tell his story. Well, Morris Brown is back. Denmark Vesey is back. Gullah JacK is back. Our time to tell our truth is back. The stones are crying out. But do you have the eyes to see what the stone is showing you? Or the ears to hear their words, their cries? Now is the time. The black moon just came. This is the holy city.
Right.
Jerusalem is the holy city.
Right.
And we are on the 33rd parallel. Oh my goodness. See, this is the information that has been kept hidden for so long. But the black moon just came. And it's all about Gullah. Gullah Geechee is the key. Willie Lynch put the spell. Now, Dr. Buzzard is back to break the spell. We are the people with spells and witchcraft and voodoo and magic. The book of spells is that holy Bible, the gospels. The truth is here now, one day at a time. He is in full control. Everything is written. We stay focused. We keep praying. We are not Afro-American. We're not Negroes anymore. We're not African-American. We are the most important people still kept a secret. And today is the time that the Gullah people's voices are going to be heard.
What is it we don't know about you, Godfrey Cahill?
Oh man, there's so much that's not known. You know, I only do my talking on, when I'm working on my tours. So, I know a lot of people know me, but I like to listen and I like to watch and observe. because I understand the times, I understand the signs. So, I just want to know the truth. It's real simple. It's not a whole lot to me. I'm real simple, real black and white. I just want to understand why we don't know who we are. Such a powerful culture. How is it that we have so much difficulties and no one to represent us, no one to stand up for us? How? After all this time? Man, people just need to know that if we come together, we can find out anything, we can do anything. And he said, wait on us. God said, wait on him, forgive me. So we're waiting, and the time is close.
And how do you really differentiate between biblical history and Gullah history?
Well, you see, there really is no difference. It's all the same. You have biblical history, you have historical history, history and biblical history. So I don't differentiate. They're all one. I just like to weed out the truth. I just like to have the proof. If you tell me what Gullah means, prove it. Not a belief. We believe it comes from an amalgamation of different nations. We think it has a Creole patois. Whatever you say, what's the proof? Prove what you say, or watch your mouth. Now is the time for proof. This is the story this is the time of history. Everything can be proven. Everything can be proven. There's a website called slavevoyages.org. There are no more questions. We know the names of the slaves before they got on the ship. When they got on the ship, they were given a new name, how old they were, the name of the ships, where the ship went to, how many ships came to this port, how many black people came through the gateways of Charleston, how many, the #1 city in America for selling people. Everybody want to know, but don't nobody want to talk about it. It's too painful, they say, too ugly. Well, who was telling my story? Who was telling our story? Because slavery does have a lot of pain, absolutely. But slavery is one of the most precious stories ever given. And we hadn't heard it yet.
Godfrey Cahill, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate this.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you so much, my family.
Anytime.
My pleasure.
Likewise.
Until next time.
Yes, sir. I'll be here.
Look out, boy. Look out.